I'm going to dance till I see myself on that little screen. Hey, there I am. Hello, weirdos and malfolks. How's everyone doing today? I'm Guslado, also known as Doug, and I'm here to do some painting for you all. Yeah. Well, looks like we already have got us a spam. Boom, right out of the gate. That's how you know you've made it as a painter, is someone spamming you immediately. But yeah, so hello everyone, how we doing? I'm actually going to zoom in on this a little bit more there. So last week I started and finished up Little Red, and so I went back and I finished off her basing, which I think looks quite lovely. And so today we're gonna keep going on Big Bad. So I just gotten started on doing his fur, so I'm gonna keep going on his fur and do some work on his. Actually, I'm probably gonna hit the purples first because I want to do some freehand on there. I'm gonna be putting the lovely little flowers all over him. So, and the plan is to actually make the yellow flowers match these ones. Well, the flowers on there are gonna be yellow. So. Yeah, let's get going. Hey, what is up, Spilled Paint Pot? How are you doing today? So let's just shake some paints. I'm going to shake some paints. And, that one's put on properly a bit more. Alrighty, here we go. There that one is. And there that one is. Beautiful. And might as well put this one on the paint palette as well, as long as I'm putting things on the paint palette. There we are. Got my purples ready to paint. So, grab a nice big brush and keep going. All right. How's everyone doing? Oh, Play Weird, you didn't end up muting your microphone. Awesome. All right. So we're going to be doing this. Yeah, so I'm going to be working on making that purple look all nice and lovely. So I'm just prepping up the purples on my palette there. So add a little bit of medium and then do a little bit of chrome. Oh, goodness. There we go. Oh, goodness. That's a little bit much medium there. That's all right. I'm going to be blending these all together a little bit, doing some half blends in between them anyways. Just prep everything up to do some blending of on that purple there. Wish these had like a nice another little halftime between them there, but it is what it is. So I'd love a little paint thing that was, instead of a triad, like a hex ray. I don't know, whatever a triad would be if there were 6. So yeah, here we go. Let's go with that right there. It's a little too bright. Let's turn it on this. Yeah, so how's everyone been doing? I always enjoy coming on and painting with you all. Makes me very happy. plus, I had a blast getting Little Red finished up there. So I've been looking forward to working on this guy. I had to resist he's been sitting on my painting desk here for, since the last time I painted with you on. I've had to resist the urge to keep painting on him because I wanted to do this one all on stream for you all. So there we go. That's kind of another. So, what have you been working on lately, Spilled Paint Pot? Yeah, I'm enjoying getting on here to paint today. So my local game store, Dragon's Lair in Houston, they've been doing this weekly painting club thing. And I frequently forgot about it. And then when I happened to go in there one evening, actually a Monday evening when they normally do it, to pick up those flower tufts that I needed to finish off Little Red. And oh yeah, it's Monday nights that they do the painting club. And I had forgotten all about it. And my Monday nights had turned out to be, the schedule has changed up a little bit. And my wife has been doing some grad school classes again. And so and those classes are Monday nights. So I was like, oh, wait a minute. I could totally show up and paint on Monday nights. Because normally I go and pick up my dogs from doggy daycare on Monday nights. Well, they're at doggy daycare on Mondays. That gets the energy out, keeps them properly socialized. But then that is literally one stop down the road from where my game store is. So I'm like, well, I can head out a little bit earlier than normal, spend a couple hours at the game store painting, and then go get the puppers. And it worked out really, really well. So definitely going to be doing that again in the future here. Excited for it. Been in a bit of a, painting rut lately. Just haven't really been painting as much outside of when I've been here streaming. Just because, life's gotten busy and just been in a bit of a rut. So it's nice to get that motivation to go and do some more painting. So that's good. Because we all get in ruts sometimes. But having that accountability, we're like, hey, Doug, if I don't show up, then those guys there will give me crap, which will be a nice motivation to paint. So that'll be fun. So started doing that last week. Or I guess that was this week. This week. I started doing that this week on Monday. So I've been scrambling around working to get my paints unpacked from that because I left my paints packed afterwards. It was just kind of a pain in the butt to deal with. But, I need to come up with a better solution because I've got all these great nail polish racks. And I got a little portable box to put them in now. But it's not convenient to, pull them in and out one at a time. So, working on coming up with a better solution. And so we shall see what I come up with. Thinking of kind of designing a 3D printed little paint caddy that I can go bloop, bloop. So I got to actually find the time to finish designing that and paint it on, print some, and load my paints into it. So yeah, but that'll be fun because then I'll be able to just load them up, get them ready to rock, make pulling out my paints for painting here much faster. Because I'm all about getting my painting zone as efficient as possible. Because it saves time. And I am all about saving time when it comes to setup and teardown. Get going faster. Spend less time cleaning, more time painting. Should be good fun. Yeah, what's on everyone else's painting table lately? I always love hearing about everyone else's paintworks too. There we go. That's starting to get where I want it to be. And painting the big bed wolf. Hey, Keterin Llama! Why, thank you. The better to purple you with, my dear. That makes no sense what I said there, but took me a second to pick up on what you were, the reference you were making there. So what have you been working on lately, Keterin Llama? I know that Playweird has been sharing some really nice looking models that I am jealous of. Let's get back on screen. Being on screen definitely helps. Well, so the reason I'm going with the blonde fur is I haven't seen a one painted up like that, but because Ferdinand Vogel, which Little Red is an alternate for, turns into the Beast Within. I'm basically going to have his fur match her hair. And then the dress, I'm going to be doing some freehand little flowers on, because if you look at the art, you got, a bunch of flowers all over that. So I'm going to be doing freehand flowers, but instead of being a pink dress, I'm going to be a purple dress with yellow flowers on it. So that's going to be fun to do. Yes, that was a little bit sarcastic because, yellow is not always a fun color to paint. But I think, it'll just be a nice color combo for this there. And I also went with purple because most of my Neverborn have got purple in them somewhere. And lately I've been running Marcus, which, as this dude goes with, as Neverborn far more often than I run them as Arcanists. So wanted to kind of have the purple of that come through a little, of my Neverborn coming through a little bit more. Plus, I really like purple. Those shadows a little bit more there. And come over that with this. Not looking great. Let's get a little bit more. Oh, and I left that open. So I am not a big fan of these bottles. People swear by these, but I literally just sprayed paint. I don't know if it got elsewhere. Do I have paint on myself? I can tell if the other ones are open or not. Or these ones, no. So, tell me I did not get another model. So yeah, I'm still not convinced of these twist top bottles, but still, it's better than a flip top. That's a pain in the butt. I gotta spray this paint all over my palette, so I gotta clean that off. There we go. Oh yeah, just I sprayed it on the carpet. Lovely. Well, I'll clean that up later. At least it's water soluble. Pro Acryl, do better. This is an idiotic paint pot top. I don't know why you do this. Hey, what's up, Personal Glitch? How you doing, man? Oh, I miss you too, man. Gotta come out and play on Thursday nights again, man. We're getting like 10 players on a regular out on Thursday nights. Sure as heck beats the times where it was just, you and me at a dealer. Yeah, it's absolutely nuts. Getting a nice solid group out to play. A lot of new players. But also getting a bunch of other Brandon has been coming out and playing on the regular lately too. And he was the henchman in the area back when I first started playing Malifaux. So it's cool to see old players who haven't been out in a while coming out again. Yeah, hopefully. I am hoping so. I haven't looked at if people have registered on Longshanks yet or not. Fair enough. I mean, most people, I only put it up there because I put the links and stuff. I drop information. Couple extra places now, like on the North American Faux Tour website. Yes, getting a lot of new players. So, we have consistently between, so for the monthly tournaments, which we have second Saturday of every month here in Houston, which that is this Saturday. So second Saturday of every month. We've been getting between 10 and 16 players every single time. We haven't had less than 10 players, I think, in almost a year now. And the fewest we've had in about 2 years has been 8 players. So we always have a very solid turnout for events here. Yeah, we're getting on our weekly game night on Thursday night. We have between like 8 to 12 players on a regular basis. Oh yeah, we are super active around here, and just getting having people show up for those regular game nights gets more people to show up, and more people show up, the more people show up. It's great. Oh yeah, we got a lot of very strong players here. And I'm glad you're liking the podcast there. I need to finish up editing the next episode, which actually has Mr. Personal Glitch there, P Glitch, as one of our guests. I have a blast recording and editing that. So the funny thing is, when I'm editing the podcast, I cut more of myself than I cut of literally anyone else. Now, to be fair, I am the king of the unrelated tangent, but I still end up, editing myself far more judiciously than I edit anyone else. Yeah, Clay does keep us from going down tangents too much. But there's still, I listen to myself talk sometimes. I go, where am I going with this topic? So we'll put a mark in. It's like, okay, I start on a tangent here, and then I see if it actually adds anything to the conversation. And a lot of times I'm like, nope, that did not add anything to the conversation. And then it's just me just talking because I enjoy the sound of my own voice. Yeah, Clay does a good job of keeping us on topic, though. Back to work. What are you doing? Well, why aren't you? Just leave us on in the background. Do the things. Help the numbers. Watch us while you work. Sling that paper. But I look forward to seeing you on Saturday, P Glitch. Always good to see you, man. Fair enough. I mean, now I have so my first degree, my bachelor's degree, is actually in theater. So I have listened to recordings of myself a lot. So I've gotten over that most of the time. And I've learned to, know more what I'm sounding like. Because, I mean, when you listen to a recording yourself, you always sound very, very different because the resonance is very different out in the air than it is when it's being transmitted through yourself. And that's why people don't like the sound of themselves recorded, because you are hearing it just differently than you normally do. Yeah. I find editing the podcast to be very. Your voice sounds identical to your twin. I didn't know you had a twin. Yeah. Although it would make sense that your voice is probably to people who are not yourself. Sound you have twin sister, twin half. Oh, nice! I did not know that. You learn something new every day. But so the instrument that is producing the voice between both of you has got, the same building blocks to begin with. So it makes sense that it sounds, when you hear a recording of yourself, is going to sound very similar to what you hear when your twin speaks. I'm also going to, before it's a problem, add a little bit more water to the wet palette. It kind of dries out in here. Sometimes I've got the AC going strong in here because it is actually really warm here today. I think it's going to get up to the 80s. There we go. Now we're at the time of year in Texas where the weather outside is reasonably nice. It's between that time where it's kind of cold out and it's stupidly hot. So I actually enjoy the outside right now, which I generally do not enjoy the outside in Texas because it just gets so hot out. I am an indoor. Well, I enjoy the outdoors, but to me, the outdoors that are reasonable are the outdoors that I grew up with in Michigan, which are much, much cooler than they are down here. It is wildly unpleasant outside most of the time down here. I do not enjoy the heat at all. I would much rather have snow than have the sun shining. And yes, I am a crazy person like that. I know most people prefer the sun to the snow, but I do not. Well, we are down here because my wife's job, as I said before, I have a degree in theater. So my wife is a geologist, so that pays much better than my acting ever did. And it still pays better than my art stuff, so. But at least it allows me to, be able to be a full-time artist. So there's something to that. So if I can, be an artist, I'm willing to put up with, garbage weather for that. So what are you working on lately, Defective Dice? Dash a 2 and a Hammer 2. Nice. Yeah, I played into Dashel 2 for the first time at Captain Con, and man, was that painful. Had I known exactly how it all worked, I would have played that game very differently. I didn't realize that when the his friends. Ooh, video. I was working on History of Ancient Mount. Ooh, that sounds fun. I'll have to get. I'm looking forward to giving that a watch. I love me some lore. Yeah, I realized the whole. Oh yeah, when they use the soul stones, they gain shielded stuff. Oh man, that was nasty. So there was a executioner wearing a lead-lined coat. That, to be fair, was really, honestly, in hindsight, yeah, that was bait. It was just going to be a tar pit for me. I see that now. But I didn't know that at the time. I figured, oh, he's big and scary. I need to take care of him before he can do things. And it's like, I thought I had the stuff to take care of him. I did not. Because Executioner, lead-lined coat, in range to get benefit from the use Soul Stone, get shielded, and plus he had a crazy amount of Soul Stones. Meant that I put 7 attacks from the Malosaurus Rex into it, and it barely did anything. And all of those 7 attacks all hit. Like, I hit him with 7 attacks in a turn, and it was still left very much alive. That was with yeah. Well, it wasn't just the Malosaurus, because there was Titania giving him some actions with a coordinated attack, and Marcus giving him some actions. So yeah, it was it was a painful learning experience. But because I'm the guy who's always, running events, there's lots of the newer, it's like, other people would have go, oh yeah, you totally shouldn't have done that because this. So I'm like, well, yeah, I am always running events, so I don't get that firsthand experience as often as I would like. Yeah, so I do. I brought Titania 2 plus Marcus and the Malosaurus. Let me see. In the latest iteration of that list, because I've changed that list up a little bit from what it used to be. I changed it over to Titania 2, and it gives it a lot more. It gives it better legs, honestly. Before, when I was doing it with Titania 1, it just did not have enough stuff to get what I wanted to do done. It was very action starved. But having it as Titania 2, she makes her entire crew a whole lot better. So, is it the best list in the world? No. Is it fun as heck to play? Oh, yes. Because mutated dinosaur. I love doing my mutated dinosaur. I also was running that with a Marcus 1 because he's just more efficient at getting those upgrades out there than Marcus 2 is. And so he really wants to just put them onto the Malosaurus and then leave them there. Yeah, so the list I run is Titania 2, obviously the Gorar, Marcus 1, the Malosaurus, and I put Ancient Pact on Marcus so that he cannot Black Joker his Chimerancy. And then I also run a Rougarou, because that is both Fey and a Beast. And a Autumn Knight, because they're just solid models with Titania 2. And it gets a lot of work done. Now, it's not a take into every situation list. But it's got, its uses. Yeah, those initiates are really good for that. It just gets more of the upgrades out there more easily and passing the upgrades back and forth. I feel like it also needs a Miranda because she's got that healing then, and because Marcus 2 wants to play really aggressively. I honestly need to get Barkus to the table more often than I have. But I tend to play against a lot of our new players on our Thursday game nights. And the times I've ran Marcus 2, it's been very strong. And so I didn't want to run it into a newer player. So I tend to intentionally run a few things that are maybe a little bit weaker into new players. But I'm looking forward. So I've seen, it looks like there's a few of the few people have received their pre-orders of the Barkus. So I'm looking forward to actually getting mine. My local store's pre-orders ever come in. They've been having problems with Alliance again because, you know what? The joys of distributors. Keep telling them to just go through the weird retailer direct, but they don't always listen to me. Oh, yeah, I have heard that you can get some really nice results with them. But I mean, it is a very different medium, very different workflow. And you do not want to lick those brushes, is what I've been told. Because you know what? Toxic. And I am a habitual brush licker. But I've heard they're phenomenal for blending. Several painters who I really, really like their technique, use it very much. Yeah, yeah, I bet that's a mistake you do not repeat more than once when it comes to the oils. We're going to get this purple in there. Then we're going to give it a little bit of time to really dry before I come back and start trying to do the freehand flowers on him. It's going to be a little bit crazy. I'm taking a risk here. Hopefully it'll work out nicely. It's definitely more freehand than I tend to do on almost anything. I think, it's an alternate model. It's worth doing, worth being a little bit extra with. Yeah. Looking forward to it. And I think one of the reasons because I've not actually played with Ferdinand Vogel on the table in a very, very long time because he is living in a diorama I did a couple years ago for the Iron Painter contest. So I was like, well, why do I need another one? But then, I clearly needed another one because he's in a diorama. Can't exactly put a diorama on the table. It does not usually work out very well. Hey, Furyk, how you doing, man? How goes, my friend? Oh, doing the same old, painting some Malifaux. I know it's very, very surprising that I am on here painting Malifaux. I know you never would have guessed that that would be what happens on the Play Weird stream. It is truly a shocking occurrence. What have you been up to lately, sir? Hobby wise, just got your hands on the clamp. Ooh, fun. Hopefully, those will show up in this area soon. I guess still haven't gotten theirs yet. I think I pre-ordered those too. Because I've never been big on the Bayou, but the Clampets look like fun. Plus, they have Cervantes. And I am never one to pass up a good Don Quixote reference. Ooh, about 75% done painting Bog. Ooh, I look forward to seeing that. I don't think I've seen a painted Bog yet. Oh, the Skulkers, yeah. Well, I haven't seen many people running the Skulkers yet. People love those hermits, though. Yeah, Bayou does tend to be a little bit more tiny and fiddly, just due to the nature of the fact that they're, gremlins, and gremlins are tiny. Well, hopefully, the first group will actually show up around here soon, because it seems like the distributor is just not does not like my local shop, because they are always behind on their stuff. That or my local shop might just be behind on putting their pre-orders, but who knows? They're generally good to me, so not gonna complain too much. Only gonna complain a little bit. Miniature Market's been having those as well through your friends in Indy. Yeah, I think Miniature Market they probably are using. Wait, is Miniature Market count as a distributor themselves, or are they going through distributor? Because I know my local shop used to use GTS, and then they switched over to I think Alliance now for Malifaux. And they've done a few things through Retailer Direct, I know, but the shop owner seems, really hesitant to do everything Retailer Direct as opposed to like Alliance. I think he gets a better deal through Alliance. I have no idea. I just want my toys. Because if I can have my toys, I'll be very, very happy. Acquiring. I don't know. I mean, there's lots of details that are, that's outside of my pay grade. But I try to go through my local game store as much as possible instead of doing direct orders from Weird myself, unless it's stuff I won't be able to get, or during like the Black Friday or the Easter sale will be coming up soon. Wonder what we're gonna get for fun stuff for Easter sale. Of course, then the other thing is it's also time to start thinking about and wondering Gen Con and Nightmare Crew. Because the Nightmare Crew this last year was one of the best Nightmare Crews they've done in a very, very long time. Not that, they've been bad otherwise, but that Nightmare Crew is one of my all-time favorite Nightmare Crews. Until then, I think my previous favorite was the Dark Carnival. Yeah, Nightmare Hoffman. Really, really cool. And they did both a box for the title box and standard Hoffman, which was really cool. Because, this was the first time there's been a Nightmare box since titles came out. So it was really cool to see them set it up that way. Because I'd be very sad to have a Nightmare Master and then not have a, the titled version to match him. It was a cool way to do it. I really enjoyed it. I mean, Hoffman's been around for a while, but the Nightmare box that came out at Gen Con. So yeah, what the if you're new to Malifaux, the quick explanation of what the Nightmare box is that during Gen Con, they brings out a new box. It's a limited edition thing. And usually can only get it like during Gen Con, or then sometimes, and not always, they will bring it back during like Black Friday sales or Easter sales, etc. Yeah. Well, Nightmare. So the Nightmare Ulix box is the only, since I have started playing Malifaux, that is the only Nightmare box I did not buy. I did not like the Nightmare Ulix box. Because when I hear Nightmare, I think it's supposed to be, super awesome, badass metal, woo! And the Nightmare Ulix box was basically the opposite of that. Please note, these are the opinions of Doug from Top Doug Design and in no way represent the thoughts of Weird Miniatures. I mean, I just do not like... I did not enjoy the Nightmare Ulix box. So I did not get it. And it is not to impugn anyone else who enjoys that one. It just did not fit with the aesthetic I enjoy. So, but that's me. But I do I love the Crazy Cat Lady box. Enjoyed the oh, exactly, yeah, it was just a box. I'm like, you know what, I don't need that one this year. Was the way it was. But everything, all the other ones, I tend to get them even if I don't play the crew, just because they look cool and I look forward to painting them. So yeah, it's mostly I did not enjoy the aesthetic, and yeah, didn't think it would be fun to paint, so I didn't get it. Fun for me to paint, I mean. Certain other people had a blast painting it. It just doesn't go with that aesthetic I tend to go with. And while I haven't painted my Nightmare Hoffman yet, I'm looking forward to the day I do. And one of the reasons, honestly, one of the reasons I have not painted Nightmare Hoffman so far, I haven't painted it yet, and Nightmare Hoffman so far, is because everyone else we were painting. I wanted to paint something that other people weren't painting on the Play Weird stream, and so I was painting other things at the time. What was I painting at the time? I don't remember. Ooh, Mist Cheat. That'd be fun. I do enjoy the Mist models. But I just have not been doing much painting outside of stream lately. So it means I just haven't gotten around to painting that Nightmare box yet. Who knows? Maybe that'll be a new project coming up soon. We'll see. I don't know. I don't plan that far ahead. Oh, I did really love the Miss model this last year. That's that Alt Carlos. Tons of fun. Very, very cool looking model. Let's see. Pirate Molly. Oh, I do love Pirate Molly. Pirate Molly is very, very cool. Let's see what. I need to actually, put that on bases at some point. Oh, that actually reminds me. I need to double check to see. One of my local guys was looking for the Nightmare May Fang box. And I've got one for me. I don't remember if a lot of times the Nightmare boxes, I'll buy 2 of them. And I don't, just in case, I'm painting it and I mess it up. Or to, get for to use as prize support later down the road. And I don't remember if I've got a spare Mei Feng box or not. I need to remember to look that up in my pile of possibilities. Which is, the pile of possibilities. It's a better way to say the stack of shame. It's not shameful, it's just possibilities. Because with that pile, anything is possible. So I'll paint that one day. But then the question is, who do we think the Nightmare Box is going to be this year? Or which faction, maybe? So this last year we had Stay Gray and Australia. Yeah. So I think, so let's see. Last year we had Guild and Arcanist. Year before that was Neverborn. Okay. Before that was Mayfang, because Mayfang was during the Gen Con that was not Gen Con 2020. And then was the year before that Pirate Molly or Ulix? I can't remember which one of those came first. Because I remember it was Pirate Molly and Ulix were back-to-back years, but I can't remember which years it was. And then what? The year before Pirate Molly or Ulix was that Crazy Cat Lady or Wild Ones? I think, yeah, and I think Wild Ones was after Crazy Cat Lady. Or no, Crazy Cat Lady was after Wild Ones, I think. Because I don't know. So come to think of it, Wild Ones is the only one. So the last few years, because there have been the 10 Thunders out, Explorers, 10 Thunders out. You know what? I could very much see it being a Explorers box. Since the last couple of years, they felt, I don't know, too new to really merit getting the Nightmare treatment. Yeah, I think Explorer, it would be cool to see something from Explorers. Ooh, but if we had one from Explorers, what would be your choice for a Nightmare crew from Explorers? And not can't do Bass because they just did Guild. Guild just happened last year, so that would be too much Guild. So no Bass, not Bass, unless they actually made Bass as a bass, like the fish. I'd be on board for that. Oh, I gotta make something quiet in my things there. Why are you making all the noise? All right, let's turn that noise off on. Where did it go? Streamer mode. Where did it go? I'm going crazy. There it is. All right, turn off the noise on my stuff there because that's driving me crazy. Ooh, Apex would be fun. Ooh, yes, please. Ooh, no, I'm all about it. No, Apex. Apex would be awesome. Oh my god. Oh, Cryptid box. Apex Cryptids. Oh yeah, I forgot that Neverborn was a crossover box. Oh yes, a Cryptid box. That would be delightful. I feel like Cooper could be Bigfoot. Which would be awesome. Oh my god! So the Malosaurus could be the Loch Ness monster. Oh yes, Chupacabra. We definitely need Chupacabra. Ooh, okay. I have no clue what La Llorona is there. Lady drowned her kids. That's kind of, like Jakuna Abume there. Of course, the one spot that it definitely feels like just lore wise that a cryptid box would make a lot of sense would be a cryptid Marcus box. But I mean, I feel, but I feel like, that might be a little on the nose, but I'd be okay with that. So the La Llorona is so there's Jakuna Abume, who is the lady in the puddle of water. It's not specifically. It's very much non Mexican influence there. I think Jakuna Abume is probably, is that Asian? I'm not sure what the source for Jakuna Abume is. I mean, I always call her Jakuna Matata, but that's because I grew up with the Lion King, and so I think Jakuna Abume. Jakuna sounds like Jakuna Matata. That's what I always call her. Jakuna Matata. Alrighty. I think the purple's up to where I want it to be to do the freehand on it. So, yeah, so she's a Reser model. She's tormented. If you're looking for keywords. Jakuna Abume. Alrighty. So, I believe I'm going to go and do a bunch of the fur work on here real fast while I wait for make sure the purple's all nice and dry before I start doing, trying to do the freehand on that. Oh, I forgot she's also a Rami. If only there were some way to look up literally all of the cards. Oh, wait a minute, there is. I love, honestly, the app, the Crew Builder app, has, first, it's an amazing selling point to new players. I just point them and go, hey, look, all the rules, they're free. And like, what? It blows their mind. But it's so useful. So, Japanese yokai, it's a woman who dies during char. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, no one ever said Malifaux was all light and cheery. That one's pretty dark. But I love the app. Oh yeah, I use it constantly. Or, if I'm bored or I'm just chilling or I'm waiting for something, I will just I'll come up with crazy crew ideas and just build crews. That's how I came up with the running the Titania and Marcus list. Was I like, what? I want to make a mutated dinosaur. And I'm going to figure out how to do it. And I did. And Firik has seen that on the table. It was fun. Oh, he saw an earlier version of it. He saw the version pre-titles, so he did not see it with Titania 2, which I think has got the just more the secret sauce to actually make it work more efficiently. Alrighty. Oh yeah. So I mean, so I think the problem I ran into with that crew a lot of times was that it was not super AP efficient, and there was a lot of stuff where with such a low model count crew, you need to be getting more actions out of your actions. Or the actions that you take need to be more impactful. And so having the Titania Titania 2 instead of Titania 1 definitely really enhances her crew a lot. So Titania herself is doing does not feel quite as individually strong. Like she's not putting out as high. Like Titania 1 can put out some surprising amounts of damage. But Titania 2 makes everyone else better and more survivable. because before I would always take so I tended to take a Rougarou in that crew, as you do. Okay, I'm ridiculous. But I don't know, it just always felt a little, it tended to be the first thing to die, honestly. People always killed that Rougarou first. And with having Titania's champion upgrade on it, suddenly it becomes much more survivable because it's got that. It suddenly has that higher defense and willpower. It's getting the built-in triggers. Plus, she's got then heals that she can throw at it. So having those heals, definitely makes it more survivable. And heck, being able to heal the Dino definitely helps that crew. Hey, what's up, Shazza Gaming? How you doing? What you working on? Oh, goodness. Yeah, 'tis the season for allergy sadness. That reminds me, I need to go get my allergy shot tomorrow. Thank you for that reminder. Because without my allergy shots, I get utterly annihilated. Oh God! That's what that tree is. I didn't realize that was dogwood trees. I know exactly the trees you were talking about, and gosh, I hate those ones. I didn't realize that was dogwoods. Yeah, the white flowers, kind of a little pink in the middle. Didn't realize that was dogwood. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what's putting out pollen around here right now. It has not really been kicking my sinuses that bad, but I mean, I get allergy shots and I've been getting them for several years. So I've got a reasonably decent resistance to my allergens now. But I still feel it when it gets really bad around here. I don't think the ragweed is out yet. Ragweed kicks my behind. But trees, grass, mold. I'm basically allergic to the state of Texas. Which is tons of fun. Yeah, yeah. We are creeping up on allergy season for me here, so I need to make sure I go get my allergy shot. Otherwise, I will be sad. I will be a sad Stanley. Oh, wait, none of you know that. One of my dog's name is Stanley, and he likes to whine. And then we say he is a sad Stanley. And he's being a whiny weenie. And now you know what I'm talking about. So if I say something is a sad Stanley, it means they are a whiny weenie dog. It's quite adorable. I love that little dude so much. He's a ridiculous little guy. He's also old. He's 14 now. Hey, Vyric, what is up? Don't look up Big Bad Wolf on YouTube. Note to self, don't do that. I would. You know what? This is family friendly. I'm not going to even, try to. I'm not going to speculate what that is. How you doing, Vyric? Yes, Stanley is ridiculous and adorable. He's 14 now. Or 15. 14 or 15-ish. I don't know his exact age because, he was a rescue. But he's getting to be an old man. So is one of our other guys, Zaphod, the dachshund. Oh, not the mutt. He's a Chihuahua Corgi mutt. And the other dachshund, Georgie, though, he's about 7, I think. But yes, I've got ridiculous little puppers. Yeah, I'm really loving this miniature. Oh, here, let me show you better. So I finished off this one last week and did the basing on it. So these two are going to look really fun next to each other. No, they are Army Painter, Meadow Flowers. So, I've heard good things about Gamergrass. I just have not, there's not a good source for it near me. And a lot of times when it comes to hobby products, I like to get it in person. Because then I can, see exactly what color that paint is or see the color of the bases. Because, oh, thank you. Glad you like that. What time is it? All right, cool. Doing all right on time. Oh yeah, he was talking about that earlier. Or is this a different one? Different video we're talking about here. I never know these things. I'm terrible at keeping up on all of the things lately. Oh, Ancient Malifor. Oh yes, he was mentioning that one earlier. That one sounds like that's going to be really cool. Oh, you know what? I am going to. So there was a question came up one of my new players asked this. It's kind of a lore. It's definitely in the lore category of things. And I answered him as best I could. But I didn't know the full details on it. The question was in regards to the color of soul stones. Now, my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, but soul stones can be any color. Right? But that the more powerful soul stones tend to be more clear, like, more gem clear, and the less powerful ones tend to be milky, right? Okay. Yeah, I always picture, so when I think soul stones, I always picture them as green. But the only one I know that is specifically listed as green is the Gorgon's Tear. But the other question we had, yeah, most of the famous ones are green. Okay. What are some of the other famous ones? Because the only famous soul stones I could think of are the Gorgon's Tear, and there was that one that I think it was it was from basically the origin story for McCabe. It was the Stone of Osmandius or something like that. It's been a while since I've read that story. Oh, that one was also green. Okay. So what are some other famous named soul stones? Because I cannot think of more off the top of my head. Oh, specifically dark green. Cool. I could not think of any more specifically off the top of my head. And so the newer player, he's a player who used to play a lot and he's come back. But now that he's back, he's like really getting into it more than he did before and really getting into the lore this time around. And so he's painting up his soul stone. He's got tokens for soul stones. Right, there's the black. Well, there is literally the black soul stone in his staff, which, if I'm not mistaken, is black. I don't know if it has a specific name or anything, other than the black soul stone that Ivan happens to have. Oh, here's a question, because I don't think I could found it anywhere. And either I missed which book it was in, or the story doesn't exist. But is there specifically a story in the lore explaining what happened to make Ivan all Mr. Shadowy Guy? Because someone was asking me about, Ivan's history. And I know he used to do a lot of work for the Arcanists, but now he's not. And I know that, that it involves, Ramos and the betrayal of Tony. Okay, so it is still a mystery. Okay. Like, I was uncertain if that ever got covered. because I have not read. I don't have all of the faction books for third edition, but I've got Arcanists and I've got an Explorer Society, and I read through them. I was making sure that I didn't like accidentally skip something or read it and then totally forget that I'd read it. I don't know if they've covered that one either. Or if they have, if they have, someone let me know. Who wrote his first? Okay, so the guy who wrote English Ivan's first story, was that the same guy who did the? Because I still got it saved. I've been just so busy. Remember you came out with the one about the guy who wrote Puzzle Box, right? If memory serves me correctly. Because Puzzle Box is my all-time favorite. Two paragraphs in the back. Okay, talking about Melissa Core, you mean? So yeah, so Puzzle Box, honestly, so of all of the Breachside broadcasts, I'm of the opinion that not only is Puzzle Box just a great story, but the Breachside broadcast recording of Puzzle Box is even better than the story itself because of the voice acting in it. The guy who did the voice acting for it just knocks that one out of the park because you just hear the journey he goes through in that story in his voice. He just starts out very, very flat, and you hear it build, and this by the end of the story, he has this sound of just a manic grin in his voice. Because I mean, I love good voice acting. I used to do some voice acting back when I was, working as an actor, and so I always appreciate a good voice acting thing. But Puzzle Box, oh my god. Characters embodied. I've been described. Wide shouldered man, finely tailed suit. So not explicit. Okay. Yes. Oh my god. The voice actor for that one. Well, I mean the voice actor for the Breach Up broadcasts. It's just really, really great in general. But I think that Puzzle Box is possibly his finest performance. Does anyone know what that guy's name is? And does he do audiobooks? Because he should do audiobooks. Wait, what is Tales of Malifaux 28? Oh, Puzzle Ball. Okay, yeah. Now I've got that one permanently saved on my phone, bookmarked all of that because it's one I just need to listen to every now and then. Yeah, so this with the fur on him, he was taking forever for this because so areas where because obviously he's furry, he likes the there's not a lot of these areas. There's not the raised fur texture, and I like to actually lay in a fur texture by hand on it. So just do little strokes instead of paint highlighting it like I normally would, like normal flesh, because I like the look of it. It definitely takes time, but I think the look is worth it. Ian Travis. Okay. Well, I need to see if he does audiobooks or not, because I like his voice. Your Santana Ortega model came in the mail today. Oh, cool. Yeah, Santana, that's one of the harder ones to find. I don't think I actually have that one. I have a lot of the alt models because, well, I collect all of the, definitely a collector. But then I realized that, so this year is 2023. I know that may be shocking to many of you that it is actually the year 2023. Doesn't seem right. But I realized that, so I started playing Malifaux at the Gen Con where second edition was released. And that was Gen Con 2013. So that means that as of this summer, I will have been playing Malifaux for 10 years. It's kind of crazy to me. Well, so I did not play first edition. So I vaguely only know the differences between first edition and second edition. Between second edition and third edition, I really like the way it transitioned. Because for anyone who played second edition, third edition feels like taking all of the things that, so gameplay wise, taking all of the things we liked about second edition, keeping those, cleaning them up in spots that it needed to. Like there used to be like over 200 unique conditions, and then, taking those unique conditions and turning them into the 12 conditions that we know and love now was awesome. It just streamlined things. Instead, there's a lot less of the, oh, wait, what does that do? What does that do? What does that do? Works out so much nicer. Well, and there was a lot of them where they had overlap in what they would do. So there was, slow, fast, etc. Yeah, those were things. But there were things where it's like, and this reduces the target's willpower by 1 until the end of the turn. Well, that is injured basically now. So there was a lot of stuff but then there would be other things where like reduce its willpower and defense, or give it negative flips on the attack. So there was a lot of overlap between various conditions, and so they got streamlined down into those 12 conditions that we know now, which makes it a lot easier to understand. And then you can, hey, you got 12 different tokens. Cool. You're able to mark everything you need to mark. Or there were also then a few different masters and such where they really counted on you having to have a condition on you. Yeah. Where like Hamlin, he'd put the blighted condition on you. Well, if he played against a crew that had a crazy amount of condition removal, it completely made it so he could not function, because you had to have the blighted condition for it to work. So now instead of it being a condition, it's the token, which means that he can keep his. There's not a way to just completely shut him down because of just a mechanic you have like that. My favorite thing is also keyword hiring. So it used to be you could just hire whatever was in your faction. No extra cost, no nothing. There were also some models that had the keyword mercenary on them. And now this was not the Vixen stuff. It was just models that then literally any faction in the game could hire, but it cost an extra soulstone to hire them. It's like performers. Literally anyone could hire them. Now you were limited to the number of mercenaries you could bring. I think you were limited to 2. But it but then there were also masters. So like Marcus, he had something where it's like this model can hire any beast he could hire literally any beast in the game as though it were part of his faction. And then there was like Leviticus, where depending on what, so there were more upgrades, but I'll get into that in a second. But depending on what upgrade Leviticus took, he could either hire like any like construct or any undead or something like that. I don't remember the details of it. I was not a Leviticus player, so I don't know the exact details on that. But so these were models that suddenly had these crazy large hiring pools. So now instead, by having it where they've got this model may hire anything of this regardless of faction, etc. Blah, blah, blah. It's all keyword. So they want Marcus to be able to hire it. Hey, they give the Chimera keyword. Or, like, if, let's be honest, if Marcus could just hire the Malosaurus Rex, yeah, right, stuff like that. But if Marcus could hire the Malosaurus Rex, just because it was a beast, it would be crazy, really, really broken. But now the only way Marcus can get the Malosaurus is as a second master, which is still possible, but it's a huge cost to do so. But there were like some models in the game that were clearly beasts that were not, did not have the beast characteristic, so that Marcus couldn't hire them. So like Bayou Gators did not have the beast characteristic. Some of the pigs did not have, if memory serves me correctly, some of the pigs did not have the beast characteristic, but some of them did. But then because you could also just hire anything in your crew without any, as I refer to it, the out of keyword tax, you would see a lot, especially competitive players, in competitive circles, you would see a lot of very non-thematic crews. Like you would definitely see Arcanists, you'd see Joss in almost every single crew competitively, or Cassandra. And so, well, I wouldn't say that keyword hiring is a rewarding thematic play. It is, I suppose, kind of, you can either say it's punishing non-thematic play or rewarding thematic play. Either way, you tend to see a lot more crews that stay in keyword. Taking that out of keyword pick, you have to really want it because it's costing more. Now, you were also limited. You couldn't bring more than one master. But the other thing is, yeah, the thematic, the shift to keyword hiring, I love it so much because you see thematic crews. There was also a lot more upgrades. Every master had a couple of what were called limited upgrades, which basically they needed these upgrades to really function. And they feel very analogous to what titles are. And that, like you need to bring, it's like, are you bringing Rasputina, so she had two upgrades. She had one where she would summon ice pillars. Rasputina used to not cast through her ice pillars. She used to cast through other models with frozen hearts. And she'd bring an upgrade where she would bring be able to drop a couple of 50 mil ice pillars on the table. Or she could bring an upgrade where she got if she cast it through her friends, she would still be able to declare triggers for them, because she used to not be able to do that unless she had that upgrade. And then late in second edition, they all the masters got another upgrade. So they all had a third upgrade. But so basically what was on those upgrades is now basically baked into the cards. Because a lot of newer players, unless they had someone experienced, they wouldn't necessarily know. Let's make sure my focus is good. There we go. So a lot of newer players, they wouldn't know that, hey, your master isn't firing on all cylinders unless you bring this one of these upgrades on them. So they didn't quite get that. And so by just having everything baked into the master to begin with, it is a lot easier for new players, and honestly takes up less table space. To be fair, I do not know why you need guild lawyers in Perdita. You know what you need? You need the guild mage in Perdita. Guild mage with Perdita is really good. But so by baking everything into all of the masters, it just worked out better. Now, the cards during second edition, they were, standard playing card size and not the tarot size. So there wasn't as much room on the cards to put all of the things. So the switch over to tarot size cards means that models can have, there's a lot more stuff that can go onto a model now. Because there's just they've got so much more room on there. If you've noticed certain cards where they've got fewer things on the front of the cards, you get to see more of the artwork. They've got more abilities on the front of their card, less artwork. So going with that form factor allowed for a more flexible graphic design when it comes to card layout. I didn't realize until I was chatting with one of the designers at Gen Con one year. And they were explaining, hey, that allows them more room to bake things into a model, which is it gives you a lot more design flexibility, which I like. But yeah, rewarding thematic play, streamlining things is so much nicer. The other thing that really, and I always forget this was a thing. So every action, you didn't just get 2 action, you would generate action points. And there were some actions that cost, 1 action point. There were some actions that cost 2 action points. There are actually some actions that cost 3 action points. Or the model had to, be either have fast or, other things. And then instead of bonus actions, you had 0 actions. Now, calling it a 0 action, people, new players, often were like, oh, well, why can't I take more than 1 0 action per turn? Because it costs 0 AP. It's like, well, because you're only allowed to do 1. with it's like, oh, you can only take one little lightning bolt action. Whole lot easier to explain than saying you can only take 1 0. Also, charge was a 2 AP action. So you could not, unless you had fast, you could not walk and then charge. And instead of doing 1 attack, you would do 2 attacks, targeting the same model. And so sometimes it would feel bad to charge a model, kill it in 1 attack, and then, well, you wasted, you couldn't do anything else with that other AP. So that was another change that I really enjoy. Gaining grounds started to be a thing later in 2nd edition. There used to be the published rotation of the this is the rotation of what the schemes are going to be for this. And there was also always, instead of just being there was 14 schemes. So there was always there were the normal 13 schemes, but then there was also the always scheme, which regardless of what the pool was, you could always take the always scheme, which led to people building their crews around all being able to accomplish the always scheme no matter what. And so I was glad when they got rid of the always scheme, because it just made for less diversity within the selection of schemes in the game. And at the time, it wasn't, Gaining Ground Season 1 or Gaining Ground Season 2. It was always Gaining Grounds 2018, Gaining Grounds 2019, etc., etc. There we go. So, I think what I'm going to do here real fast is I'm going to do his eyeballs there, as I can. And so, sure, I gave blue eyes. So I'm going to give this guy blue eyes too. Actually do this. And so I'm using my Pigma Micron pens. There we go. There we go. Let's grab the other one. Let's grab the 0.15. Let's see, that would be black 0.15. There it is. Cool. And then I'm going to put a dot inside that iris. Okay, here we go. Yeah, it actually worked. Cool. There we go. All right. So I was going to hit his gums with, there you are, Just got to hit his gums a little bit, do his teeth, and then I'm going to get going on the freehand. Basically, I don't want to end up splashing on the freehand over the freehand areas when I'm doing the boring, the little other details there. But yeah, the game has come a long way. The other thing that I love is that the community around Malifaux is honestly, when I first started playing Malifaux, I was surprised at how very, very positive the community, the online community for Malifaux was. Just because, there's times where gamers have got a bad rep online from time to time. And no matter what the community is, that's always a small minority. But the community for Malifaux was always so overwhelmingly positive. I just loved it. And that's honestly one of the things that kept me playing, hooked me for Malifaux, was just that there's such a positive community. And one of the things that has not changed in the almost 10 years that I've been playing now is that the community has managed to stay very positive for the most part. Yeah, there's always going to be times where people get in arguments, whatever. But for the most part, the Malifaux community is the most positive and welcoming gaming community I have ever had the privilege to be a part of. And that's why I run events. I run more events than I play in these days. And if I didn't like the community, I would not run events. But the being able to bring people together to have a fun time is one of the reasons I love running events. That's one of the things. So people have asked me, hey, why do you, wouldn't you rather play in an event than run it? Like, well, I do enjoy playing in events, but I really do genuinely enjoy running a tournament. There's just something where I get very proud of myself and, of the community that I put together when I run an event and I get a lot of people to show up and they have a fun time. That brings me real joy. And I think that, comes from one of the things where I've always been a bit of an entertainer. Like as I said earlier, I've got a degree in theater. I was a professional actor. I like to entertain people. And, being an event organizer, make sure it's hey, I'm going to entertain people and make sure that they have a fun time with my event. Hey, if you have played in more than, if you've actually played, 2 or 3 games, I'm of the opinion that you're ready to go to a tournament. Because the thing to know is that at a tournament, look, you don't go to your first tournament expecting to win the thing and be, hey, I'm the king of the competitiveness. No, you go to your tournament saying, hey, this is a chance to get in 3 games in a day against players I normally don't get to play against. Alrighty. But yeah, Spill Paint Pot. If you don't mind me asking, what part of the country are you located in? Okay. I do not know who's running events down there. Or when they are running them. Okay, so even if you're not a competitive player, going to it, like you don't have to be a competitive player to go to a tournament. You can go to a tournament saying, hey, I just want to go to this tournament just to get in 3, I'm going to get in 3 games today against players I don't normally get to play against. And that ends up being a lot of fun. I mean, honestly, that's my favorite part about going to tournaments when I actually get to participate in things. Because normally, if I'm participating in it, it's because it's a tournament that I had to go on the road for, and it's playing against someone who I normally don't get to play against, and that just makes me really, really excited. So I had a blast at Captain Con. So I seem to remember someone on Facebook looking for games in North Carolina. Must have been closest to Winston-Salem. Running games. Okay. But yeah, so I like when I went to Captain Con. Oh man, I had a blast. I actually I was so excited because I finally got to play against John Goulbourne, who is one of those players who he's been to several of my events. He comes out to Gen Con most years. Chances are, if you've been to a major event, you have seen John Goulbourne. And he's just such a wonderful, nice guy. Great sense of humor. Fun to have around. But I had never actually played a game against him. Because any events that I had been at and participated in, either he wasn't in, or I just never got paired off against him. And I finally got to play against him at Captain Con. And that honestly kind of made my day for me. Because everyone has told me how much they enjoy playing against him. And I love having him at my events. But I'd never actually played against him before. And so finally getting to play against him was really, really fun. So yeah, I love playing against players I do not get to play against on the regular basis. So that just makes me happy. But I also enjoyed lately that a lot. I feel like on a national level, we've kind of started to start crossing metas, which is good because since we're so spread out, sometimes it's hard to really know what's going on in other metas. But we've changed the name now. The North American Faux Tour. It used to be the U.S. Faux Tour, but we wanted to include the Canadians. It's been doing a really good job of kind of encouraging people to travel to events. And then there's the championship at the end of the season. And it feels like it's been doing a nice job kind of bringing all of the world together. Oh, yeah, all of the world, not the world, North America together, which is nice. Because I know the UK has been doing nationals for having, UK nationals for a while. It's just something that's been really tough to do in the US just because of how spread out we are. Like the fact that I could drive for 12 hours and not leave my state is kind of insane. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it happens. Especially when being like, eh. All right, let's get. No, I'm gonna grab the white. I'm gonna push these teeth all the way up towards white there. Hey, glad to see you. Hope to see you around, sir. Have a good one, Spilled Paint Pot. Oh, I'm glad. Also, I'm glad you like how it's looking so far. All right, I totally forgot to do his claws. He a pretty boy. He's a good boy. Actually, he's a good girl because you know what? He is I'm going with the little red. He actually transforms into this guy. You know what? I'm gonna do something. So my dogs have very black claws. So let's clean that off. Now let's actually stab the black paint because it is clogged. Ow! I just stabbed myself. Do 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 do. There we go. Just gonna go really dark around those nail beds there. Because I'm looking at this guy and thinking, man, he's got basically this guy's got the same coloration. I'm painting him up as Zaphod, my puppy dog. So I'm like, well, he's got very dark nails. Hey, have a good one, Furyk. Have a wonderful day. Always good to see you, dude. No, not that. Too bright, too fast. Probably need, where's that? Let's go with, yeah, a little bit of rhino oxide. That'll be, there we go. That's the color I'm looking for. Ooh, yeah. So I mean, it is well established that Puzzle Box is my all-time favorite story from the lore. But so other characters or story arcs from there. So we all know I love to play Marcus, but I also really love how he's been done in the lore, especially third edition. So the story where he is, I can't remember the name of the story. The one where the guild is building that mining outpost nearby Marcus's mountain. Well, the mountain that Marcus is living on. It's not Marcus's mountain quite yet. But so that one where he is the Chimera, him and his animals are working to mess them up. And then the guild goes out to hunt him down. And they completely literally undermine. Yes. So they undermine the guild stronghold there. And then the guy, and then, the last guild guy's up there. He's like, oh, you. And he's like, my mountain. And then he full on Spartan kicks him off the mountain. I love that. And I then also love that in the lore, what happened in the background is, because then this came out in the 3rd edition, lore at the start of 3rd edition there, is that when he's like, my mountain, the mountain was listening and goes, I'm okay with that. I am your mountain. And so when he went and got summoned to basically felt the compulsion to go to where Titania was and had the showdown with Titania. And she explained to him that, she when she came back into the world of Malifaux, she asked who rules here. And there was, Marcus of the Weather Peak. And how the land, he had claimed the land, and the land said, yes, I am okay with that. And I loved that moment. And so that was just such a cool idea that that's one of my other favorite bits in the lore. Now, one of the more obscure lore bits that I love. I was not around when this was active. This was before my time. But I went back and read it later, and I don't know where it is available through right now. But there's a story called The Dead of Winter. And so my understanding was that at the end of end of 1st edition, going into 2nd edition, they did a global campaign where and I might be misrepresenting it slightly here, but this is what I was told happened. Whether there was a global campaign and where everyone ended up playing in this campaign, and that the results of it affected the world of Malifaux. And they did that a couple times in 2nd edition. So, excessive Marcus Cooper will have a showdown. Marcus when Miranda comes back from Cooper. Yes. Well, that's why he's all, beast mode Marcus now, and I love it. But so, Dead of Winter, my understanding is that basically every faction got a master, and that how they did in this global campaign affected the world of Malifaux. And that there was basically they went into obliterations thing and lived through thousands of lifetimes. And that explains where Terra came from, because Terra was a brand new master at the start of 2nd edition. Yeah, well, so the information on so Dead of and it was the full published story of it. Yes, that is. I played in that one, and at one point, so I went very hard on trying to get him. So for those ones, they had these scenarios you could play with each of them, and depending on how who won, different things happened to them. That's why Ferdinand Vogel has got some abilities that guild lawyers have. It was because the guild caught him at one point, and he became a bit of a guild lawyer guy. But then the us Marcus devotees kept, pushing for him, and we ended up with him there. So I love it. All right. Let's get that nice little brighter pink around the mouth. But that's also where Serena Bowman and Merlina Webster came from. And the reason why Serena Bowman has got the whole Demise Eternal thing was because she ended up on Dr. McMorning's table at one point. Like she died, and then it was, resurrected by Dr. McMorning. Marlena Webster, she the claws of her Koimenu so it's got the her little teddy she rides around on has the claws of a Koimenu. And I remember there was there's a campaign at one point where basically we determined who the new governor general was. Although I think that was through the Breach campaign, if memory serves me correctly. That's how we ended up with Marlowe as governor general. All right. Man, I would love to see all of that in an omnibus. All of the deep cuts would be awesome to have. All right, so let's figure out how I want to do those flowers on there. So obviously I'm going to be doing yellow. I want to use some yellow flowers. That's going to be on there at some point. But the best way to do yellow is to do it over a bit of an ochre. So is that the right? Yeah, that's the right ochre for it, which I've already got there. All right. So let's figure out. Hey, look at that. I got a little thumb there. I'm going to figure out how I want these to be. So let's just go with that and see. Just going to paint on my thumb real fast. So if I go with... trying to make something I can repeat several times. Okay. That'll look reasonable. Let's see if the yellow will work on there then. Ooh, that's flaky. And it needs to be stabbed. That got clumped up. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I think that'll look nice. Little yellow flowers on there. All right, cool. So it's actually, you know what, that's not going to work out great. So how will you work on that? No, you know what, I'll just go and land the little dots. Start putting on dots to figure out where exactly. I go start down at the hem, work my way up. I feel like this is going to be a little bit of insanity to do this. All of these flowers all over in there. I think I'm going to make it a little bit bigger then. Yeah, that'll be... God, this is going to be nutty. This is going to be crazy. Why am I doing this? The dress looks nice as it is right now. But you know what? I'm a crazy person. So I'm just going to keep doing that. Yeah. Sorry. Well, it took me longer to get there than I anticipated. Still got time. So yeah, so I'm going with very thin down because I'm going to be doing yellow. Basically, I want the flowers to match this. So I am doing some yellow. So doing yellow flowers. And now as an undercoat, ochre tends to make a decent undercoat for a yellow. Just trying to do yellow directly on top of purple will not look great. So I'm actually using what the undercoat was for his fur, just because it's a nice undercoat for yellow. And I'm really just basically doing 3 lines crossed there. But at this scale, that will then end up looking kind of like a flower. So yeah, okay, here we go. The hard part when doing a repeating pattern like this is keeping the size consistent. You know, and I'm going to actually go back and lay some of these in with the yellow there, just so we can kind of see where I'm going with this. And then I'm going to come back after they're all done and going to dot them with something in the middle to really make them pop as a flower. This is honestly some of the most ambitious. What kind of, you know what? My favorite flower is a lilac, both for appearance and for the smell. Specifically because it reminds me of growing up. My dad planted a bunch of lilac bushes around our house. And those things grew. I mean, my dad used to grow roses as well, but those are tougher to grow. But the lilac bushes were just thrived and looked beautiful. And every spring, just going outside, smelled of lilacs. And so the smell of lilacs very much takes me back to my childhood. Because if you didn't know, sense of smell is actually the sense most strongly associated with memory. I have no idea why that is. But yes, so the smell of lilacs really takes me back home. So that's kind of where we're going with those. I'm going to grab, just so we can kind of see where we're going with these, I'm actually going to lay in a couple more, actually do the next coat on what we've got there. Oh. Just so we can kind of see the direction it's headed. Let me find, yeah, I probably need the zero brush for that. So that is kind of the direction we're heading with these. Right, and I really thought yellow and purple would, the purple would really make the yellow pop. And so then I'm probably going to have to go back over these and then shade them in a little bit more just to keep the shading consistent with what's going on above it there. If I do it thin enough, it won't be too bad. So So yeah, this is really the okay. Oh, here we go. Let's do this moment with this. I know I was talking this up, the doing the freehand up the entire thing, and I really only hit it here right at the end. But I didn't want to, do the freehand and then come back and mess it up by being careless with other stuff. See, for me, I always pick. I'm always red. See, and I'm getting my spacing a little bit off. I gotta keep them farther apart there. And that's the hard part with the repeating pattern. Especially when it's, on a piece of cloth that's folded here. And it's okay if they get a little squish because the cloth is folded. I'm not the best at freehand in the world, but you know what? I am doing this as a challenge to myself because I might as well make it look awesome like that. Look at that. I'm getting a bunch of nice little flowers down the have that dress there. The plan is to do it over the entire dress, which is going to be crazy, but I'm okay with it. All right, why am I should be using the other one? I was doing these with the number 1 brush. That'll get it laid in there a little bit better. Number 0 brush is just for the final detail one. Oh yeah, we're getting late in the day here. We're almost done. Woo! Yep. And not only did I, decide to do, hey, I'm going to do a bunch of freehand, I'm also going to do it in yellow, which is always, a tough color to do. Because apparently I'm a crazy person. So does anyone know any flowers that happen to have yellow petals? And what color the middles would be? Or do I have to look this up? Black-eyed Susans? Okay, yeah, so doing a little kind of a dark brown dot in the middle. It's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah, sunflower. These are definitely the shape I'm doing. These are more black-eyed Susan, less sunflower. Thank you, Defective Dice. So what day is that next lure? Oh, buttercups. Yellow. Ooh, I could maybe do kind of... Oh, I'll play around with it. Man, look at those. That's kind of craziness. I am a crazy man. But these are gonna, it's gonna pop. It's gonna be fun. All right. Well, hey everyone, it is that time. So thank you all for tuning in. And yeah, I will see you all next time. Stay weird, everybody. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.